we make you laugh? Aren't we fucking funny?
Does that sound right?
What's the boogeyman?
Welcome back to the Moonjuice Metal Horror Podcast where we live and breathe heavy metal and horror, but are not afraid to shit all over both of them. I'm Matt.
I'm Mike.
We haven't fucked this thing up in a while. I'm proud of us.
Yeah, actually, it's only just, I don't know, in months it's been, I think it's
been months. Yeah.
I mean,
I haven't been able to create like an opening thing with Ashy Slashy or anything funny in a while. So I keep hoping one of us is going to fuck it up so that I can do that, but it hasn't happened. Yeah. So welcome back. This is our second episode in the Christmas season, and we are doing another Christmas themed horror film today. This one also has Krampus in it as a main character, just like the last one was, albeit probably a much better looking Krampus in my opinion and Mike's opinion than the last film.
It's well, how should I say it? Better looking, definitely. It's more accurate to the actual Krampus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought also I love the Krampus from the Krampus movie. Yeah. Just like I said, it's the mask that was a little bit off. If it was not the mask, I would have not really anything to complain about. The only thing you could say that is not accurate to the actual Krampus. And this Krampus is more accurate to the original legend of Krampus.
Yeah, except this guy is fucking ripped. He looks like whatever kids he's stealing and putting in his sack, he's eating. Because this guy is ripped. This guy is like the Lou Ferrigno of Krampuses. This guy is fucking stacked. Would not want to meet this guy in a dark alley or anywhere else because I'm a pretty decently sized guy, but I'm not sure there's much I could do against this dude. He is fucking powerhouse. Big fucking scary muscular looking bastard. Unfortunately, you don't see him that often in this film. Like he's got his parts that he's in. They are very few and far between though. I feel the character was very underutilized in this, and particularly for one scene, I feel like we could have seen a lot more of him. But that said, he served his purpose in the film. The film is not actually about Krampus, though, although the film poster would have you believe differently. The film poster is very, very misleading about what this film is. But if it got people to go see the movie, then fine. It did its job. Not a bad film. It has its issues, but they're not so bad that it's not worth watching. Like there's enough to love in this film, right? There's enough to love in this film to watch it. Is it going to become like a Christmas staple for a lot of people? Probably not, but it is a good Christmas horror movie. I will say that. I'll say it's good. That's fair, right?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's not like spectacular, but it's quite decent. And if it was like, it has like, the entire thing has two main stories. I mean, it has multiple stories. That's why I brought up the last time that it's a Christmas equivalent to Trick or Treat, because Trick or Treat, you have like these 5 or 6 different stories that are intertwined and all end in the same conclusion or a similar conclusion. You have something similar going on with this movie, just that the different stories are only connected very, very loosely. And except for the two main stories, you will actually, if you don't pay attention throughout the entire movie, you're going to miss how the other stories were connected to the two main stories. And there is one story that has basically no connection at all.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how should I say it? We've talked about this before we started recording, and probably we're going to bring it up when we get to the scene we're talking about. And it's like, I do think this could have been a movie as good as Trick or Treat if they would have done the writing better. Because there would not have had to been that much that they would have had to change.
Yeah. There was really simple ways to weave these stories together to make it work as an anthology film, which that's what this is. This is an anthology film, much like, Tales from the Crypt or Tales from the Dark Side, any of those movies where there's multiple different stories, or just like Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
but they don't weave together very well. As Mike pointed out, there are some things that if you blink, you'll miss it, where the stories kind of have something to do with each other. I missed every single one of these except for one, and I think that's because I was raging over the cuts in the film. Because they would go, and we'll talk about it, but they would go into this part of the story until it got really interesting or someone was about to get fucked up, and then they would cut and go to the other story at a very kind of boring part of that story, and it was just a complete downer for me, and I would just kind of like, oh, what the fuck, every time that they would do that. And that's why I missed the scenes where they were intertwined, because they're usually like right at that part, right? I'm not going to say it's sloppy filmmaking, because I don't think that's it. I think there's a couple of missed marks here that could have made the movie great, because the movie does have a recipe to be a great movie. It does. Everything's there that you want there. The budget is there. The acting is there. The special effects are there. It's just the writing. And I made a note. I always, after I watch a movie, I make a quick note about my overall thoughts of the movie. And what I wrote was, this movie feels like 4 writers who were locked in separate rooms, all drunk on eggnog and forbidden from speaking to each other. That's what this feels like.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
But I mean, for all the bad things I can say about this film,
accurate,
and I probably will say about the film, for all the bad things that I probably will say about this film, overall, it's a good film. It's a good horror film. It's not bad. Yeah, it's an anthology where none of the stories want to be there, including the movie itself. But they work somehow, right?
Yeah.
So, Mike, what movie are we doing today?
We're doing a Christmas horror story.
Okay. So you see the movie poster right there, right? So what you get is this really epic looking Krampus figure fighting Santa Claus, right? And this movie poster, and I don't know how the fuck I missed this movie, Mike. Like, usually that poster right there would have gotten me to see the movie probably before you were like, hey, we should do this movie for the podcast. Normally I'm like, yeah, I've already seen it. That's cool. I'll just watch it again, and that way I refresh my memory. Yeah. I've never fucking seen this movie, and I don't know why. I don't know why it slipped my grasp.
Well, the thing is, this movie came out in the same year that Krampus did. It came around the same time, actually. Yeah, so yeah, exactly. I'm going to assume probably in the same month, I guess. And I do think that this movie that Krampus overshadowed this movie, even though it's very, very chaotic. Yeah, and before we get into the cast or the movie, if you like our podcast, please don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment, and share this episode, anywhere you want to.
We are gathering followers. We lost a subscriber, like you pointed out, but I went back and looked at Spotify. We're actually doing pretty good there. So keep sharing the shit out of that with your friends, so we get like higher on Spotify. And then eventually, when we do get good enough, we'll go to all other platforms. It's just that Mike and I are too lazy to do that right now. So we'll get to it, I promise. So this movie has a few directors, right? So I think with Trick or Treat, if I'm not mistaken, the stories were written by different people, but the director was the same director for the whole film. And it was apparent.
And I do also think that, in my opinion at least, is probably the reason why this movie turned out to be too chaotic, specifically because you have 3 writers and 3 directors. In my opinion, too much chefs sour the soup. Huh?
Yeah.
And I think,
too many chiefs and not enough Indians. Yeah,
exactly.
That's a good point.
That's the point I want to bring up here.
That's how it feels. And honestly, the way it goes, it's the other note that I made was, it's like channel surfing on Christmas Eve when every channel is bad and you're too tired to care. So it's like too tired or too drunk to care. Like you're watching one and it gets interesting and you like the story a little bit, and then it'll immediately cut to another story without really any warning whatsoever. And it's kind of a letdown. It does feel like flipping channels between 4 different channels.
Yeah. Well, that's his thing.
That can also be kind of the appeal of this
movie too. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, that's why it's going to be difficult, like in our usual format, to go through scene for scene. Quite too difficult for this movie. just because it is too chaotic, and the stories are so loosely connected to the main two stories that it's difficult. And I think we already agreed on that. We're probably just going to go through all of these different stories.
Yeah, because if we try to do this the way that the movie is actually played out, we're going to exhaust everybody because it jumps all the time.
It jumps all the time.
It's much easier to just do one story after another.
Then I'm just going to get in to the cast. Okay, when it comes to the directors, the directors are Grant Harvey, Stephen Hoban, and Brett Sullivan. I have no idea who those guys are.
Never heard of any of them. No.
Yeah, okay, exactly. Okay, you have William Shatner, or Captain Kirk, I'm going to call him, that plays Dangerous Dan.
America's favorite ham.
yeah, exactly. George Buza, that plays Santa. Rob
Great
Archer.
Santa,
yeah, great actor.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy alone makes the movie, in my opinion, huh?
Yep.
But it's
He's
also
the
very
perfect
fun.
casting pick.
But when we come to his story is like the main story of this movie. There's a lot of cool things about this portrayal of Santa I would like to bring up. No? Okay, but we're going to get there afterwards. There's Rob Archer, who plays Krampus. Zoe D. Grand Mason, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name correctly, that plays Molly. Alex Ozeroff Mayer, who plays Ben. Shannon Cock, I'm going to call him. His name is Cook, but I'm just going to call him Cock. It's Kook.
Just call him Cock.
Plays Dylan.
You went ahead and cemented that name into this podcast. We're just going to call him Cock from now on. See how many times we can get flagged on YouTube for that.
Oh, probably. No, okay, we have Femi Forsyth, who plays Capris Bauer. We have Jeff Clark playing Taylor. Michelle Nolden playing Diane. Adrian Holmes, who plays Scott. God, this is a good one. Lunica Adelaide Kim. Yeah, she's some... I don't know. I apologize if I mispronounced that name.
Yeah, you definitely butchered that one, dude.
I butchered that one, definitely. Okay, we have Orion John, who plays Will. A.C. Peterson plays Big Earl. Percy Hines White, who plays Duncan. Corrine Conley plays Aunt Etta. Okay, we have Three Fingers is in this movie, Matt.
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
I was hoping you'd notice that.
Of course, I've noticed that. I know this guy. Julian Richings, the guy that plays Three Fingers in Wrong Turn, who also plays Death in Supernatural. Like the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse Death.
Yep. Great guy. Great actor. Yeah.
Great guy, exactly. We have Deborah McCabe, who plays Marta, and, another good one, Joe Sylvia, who plays Jingles.
I knew you would butcher that one, too. That's okay. I'm not going to act like I would do any better. I definitely wouldn't do any better. These names are always ridiculous. Like, I think that's a prerequisite to being an actor is you have to have a ridiculous name. We can't all be called Harrison Ford.
Yeah, probably that, yeah.
So William Shatner, can we talk about William Shatner for a second? Because
of course
he's kind of the glue that kind of glues all these stories together because he's got a radio show, right? Although I'm not really sure what the radio show is, Mike. I don't know what he's doing. This is like a Christmas radio broadcast where they get some guy who's well known to sit there, play Christmas songs and keep everybody interested that is not hanging out with their families and doesn't have anything else to do on Christmas. This is William Shatner. So this guy is known for doing a lot of nothing and being good at it. Best known as Captain Kirk, obviously, but he's got this voice that he can sound completely enthused and completely upset at the same time. And I think that's why they picked him for this. My notes about what this guy does the entire film, I sat there like writing a bunch of Shatner stuff down because I think it's hilarious. Anytime Shatner's in a movie, there's something to laugh about because the guy is a really good actor, but he's also the biggest curmudgeon of any older actor you can find, except for a few other people who I won't name right now. I'll probably name them later as we get to it. But what I wrote about him, Mike, and see if this rings true for every scene that he's in. William Shatner spends the entire movie reacting to stories like a man trapped in a podcast he didn't consent to.
Yeah, that fits.
Yeah.
That fits totally, yeah.
Yeah. He delivers his lines like he's reading Yelp reviews about hell. He's kind of the framing device for the film. Like I said, he's the emotional anchor, and somehow he's still less confusing than the rest of the film.
Yeah.
He sounds like he's been awake for 3 days, fueled entirely by black coffee and regret. And honestly, I would have watched 2 hours of Shatner ranting at callers instead of the rest of this movie.
Well, it would have probably been a better movie, definitely.
I mean, he's great, but if you know Shatner's price tag, the guy is not a cheap actor to hire. So you can bet that a lot of the budget went to just getting him in this film, which probably accounts for a few things. Anyway, I digress. We'll move on. Shatner's great in this film. The opening of this film is really good because it kind of gets you into what the movie's about. They do a really good job of this because you get Santa Claus, right? Is the opening of this film. And you kind of see him from the back. It looks like he's in his reindeer stalls. We don't know why. He's probably getting ready for like Christmas to go get his reindeer and get settled up and get going. He kind of walks down the corridor a little bit. You see him saying hi to his reindeer, and then he turns around, and you realize he's got this huge gash across his face going from up here to right here. And then you hear in front of him something banging on the stall doors really, really hard. And he immediately grabs his staff, like his walking staff. It's kind of got this Christmas emblem on the end of it.
That's what I wanted to bring up.
Looks like razor blades that have been sharpened.
His staff.
Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is the funny thing, actually. I'm not sure if you noticed it, that up until the end, you don't see Santa Claus in this movie. Because what you actually see, Matt, is not Santa Claus. It's St. Nicholas.
Oh, yeah. I know.
That's one brilliant thing I ought to bring up. I mean, a lot of people probably not notice it. Santa Claus, we know, is a character that probably has only existed, I think, the last 200 years or whatever. And this is probably. But the character that basically Santa Claus derived from was St. Nicholas. I mean,
Right.
there are differences, obviously. But as you can see, other than his red cloak, he does not have anything red underneath. And
Right.
St. Nicholas always had a golden staff.
Right.
Santa Claus didn't. And this is also specific, in Europe. Americans probably only know Santa Claus, not St. Nicholas. But even till nowadays, in Germany, for example, there is a distinction between the two. Because in Germany, they're just treated as two entirely different characters. And it's funny, if you translate in German, it's called der Weihnachtsmann.
Yeah.
That's what Germans call Santa Claus.
The Christmas man, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny if you translate it, it's Christmas man. That's what Germans call him. And but it's when it comes to Christmas, a lot of Germans do more the traditional, Christian thing, like Jesus' birthday, die drei heilige Könige that come and give him presents. That's where, in Germany at least, that's derived from. But actually, the St. Nicholas Day on the 6th of December, what Americans probably don't know.
They don't. Mike, this is a good opportunity for you to explain that too, because I've never met an American that knew what Nicholas Tag was.
No, saying
So,
exactly. The thing is,
go
the
ahead and
original
explain that,
character that
Americans
Santa
have no
Claus-
idea.
Yeah, the original character that Santa Claus was derived from is Saint Nicholas, and this is also the character that Krampus was tied to, not Santa Claus. That's also a difference. No, back in the day, it was before Christmas. All this happened. Saint Nicholas came and gave all of the good kids presents on the 6th of December. At the same time, Krampus came and punished the evil children, or the naughty children. But this was done in the past on the 6th of December. That is St. Nicholas Day. That, at least, I think in the majority of European countries till nowadays, is still celebrated as St. Nicholas Day.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And a lot of people usually know when it comes to Christmas, they don't usually get told, like that Santa Claus is putting the presents under the tree. No, it's Christ. It's Christkind. So like the actual Christian thing.
Which is weird.
What? No, it's not. What? It's weird. No, it's not.
It's weird for Americans. Like it's definitely weird for Americans. That's something I didn't even catch on to until I'd been here for a little while. Like people were like, yeah, And we tell the kids that Christ came and put the presents under the tree. I'm like, what? So every kid here thinks that Jesus Christ comes to their house, or the Christkind, and puts presents under the tree. That blows my mind, because that is not what Americans do at all.
No, yeah, but
Our story is completely.
I mean,
Yeah,
of
I
course, it's Santa Claus, but that is the original Christian, Christmas, thing, and the Europeans still do it. And also, when I came here as a kid, what was really weird to me is second Christmas Day, because in the States it was like Christmas Eve and Christmas done, but it was like
right.
I think in Germany, at least, I'm not sure if it's all European countries. You have Christmas Eve, then you have the first Christmas Day and the second Christmas Day. So there are actually 2 Christmas days. I mean, what was probably going to feel weird to a lot of Americans. It was weird for me in the beginning when I came to Germany, but I got used to it because, I grew up over here,
Yeah.
been living here since I was a kid. So I just think it's actually quite funny. But actually, it's not like people, I don't want to our American listeners, it's not like Europeans don't celebrate Santa Claus at all. Just like, it's kind of weird because we see usually the most portrayals of it in media is usually Santa Claus. Usually.
Yeah.
No? Movies or
You can
whatever.
thank Coca-Cola for that.
Yeah, you're going to see that the same kind of way as it is in the States. But for a lot of Germans, at least, Santa Claus is something they watch on movies or watch on TV shows, or they use it to decorate everything. But it's only a symbol to a lot of Germans. Everything else is like Saint Nicholas. I mean, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was something I want to bring up because I could see from your reaction that you didn't notice that.
No. So the way it looks to your average American that comes over here and spends a little bit of time, or at least spend a Christmas in Germany, is that in Germany, Christmas is a bigger deal. And I'm not going to say it's a bigger deal, advertising wise, because advertising wise in the States, Christmas is everything. This is how all the businesses make their money. This is how marketing gets out there and gets their product and hooks it into Christmas somehow. And Christmas is a huge money deal in the United States. Here, it's more traditional, and I prefer the German way, because what America did was we took St. Nicholas Day on the 6th and then Christmas, and we wrapped those up into one day. That's where the stockings come from that are hung from the chimney, right?
Yeah.
So in Germany on the 6th, you put your boots down, and Santa or St. Nicholas fills your boots with candy and maybe a couple of toys or whatever. And then Christmas comes, and you've got the 24th, which is when the whole family gets together and opens gifts, depending on your family, right? And then the 24th is actually Christmas. And then the 25th, the whole family's together having their second Christmas Day. And everybody's together and everybody's eating food and opening more gifts and stuff like that. Americans just get one fucking day. So for the Germans, it's like this whole month ordeal thing where you get 3 days.
4
months?
If the point is, if you count actually Saint Nicholas Day and the Advents, because it's also tradition in Germany that they get usually together on the Advents, and it's just like the first event is shortly before Saint Nicholas Day. That's like when December begins, and that's when you get like a Kranz. I'm not sure of the
a wreath. A wreath. Yeah, a wreath.
A wreath, and there's 4 candles on it. And at each event, like at each weekend or whatever, you turn on 1 candle. And that's like something a lot of families do where they get together a little bit. Then you have St. Nicholas Day where kids get like 1 present or whatever. That's like the first Christmas Day on the 6th of December. Then comes Christmas Eve. Yeah, just like you explained. Then comes Christmas, and then comes the second Christmas Day.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys do it better, man. It's definitely like more festive and more like togetherness. Americans are like, we're just gonna have the 25th over at your grandma's house, and then we're all gonna go to church after we open gifts, and that's pretty much the end of it, right? The whole Advent thing, the whole lighting the candle that happens throughout the month of December, we just light them all up at one time every day. And they're all there. Like, we don't wait for one Advent day to light the first one and the next Advent day to light the next one. It's just always lit up. Yeah. So we just took German Christmas and sped it up and made it one day.
Yeah. Well, I would have to look it up. I think it's European. I'm not necessarily think that it's only Germans that do that. I would have to look it up.
It's probably European, at least the
Yeah.
ones that are Germanic. I know that
Yeah.
the Dutch do it the same way that the Germans do, except there is one extra day. Nim was telling me about this. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's like you have St. Nicholas Day, and then the very next day is another big celebration. But it's a celebration where everybody goes out in the streets and there's a big street party, and that's a Dutch thing. I have no idea what that's called, but we'll have to ask Nim when he's on the
And
podcast.
also, what thing? There's a holiday after Christmas that is tied to Christmas as well. In Germany.
What?
In January. Where do you think that comes from?
I've never even heard of that one, Mike. What the fuck is that?
Huh? Wait. I just want to make sure I'm not talking shit. No? The Three Holy Kings? Honestly, you have not heard of that?
Yeah,
You're a
Three
Christian.
Kings Day. Three Kings Day.
How have you
But
not heard of that?
I'm not a
Three Kings
Christian.
Day. Huh? You were raised as
Yeah,
one.
yeah, I know, but I don't remember us ever celebrating that. And I feel like we would have because we were a Christian family, but I've heard of it in Germany, but I've never celebrated or seen anything that has to do with it. So explain this one to me as well. For me and all the other American listeners who don't know shit about.
I have to look up. I don't know. Oh yeah, it's on the 6th of January, and according to Christmas, it was like when Jesus Christ was born. We have like the three kings that came to visit him. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, right.
But it was also on a different day. It wasn't on the day Jesus was born. On the 24th. It was a few
Right,
days
of course.
later.
Yeah.
In January. And that day is also celebrated in Germany, at least to a certain degree, on the 6th of January, the Three Kings holiday.
Okay.
But it's not Christmas, of course, but it's tied to Christmas, because 24th is the day Jesus was born, and the 6th of January was the day where the three kings came and gave him presents or something like that.
Allegedly, but yeah. So how is that celebrated? Three Kings Day.
I think it is a holiday. Well, often not in big cities. In villages, it often happens that kids come around, they walk through the streets and with make a little bit of music with wooden tools or whatever. They draw these. You've probably seen in January these symbols that are drawn onto houses on the right side on the doors.
Yeah.
That's Three Kings Day. That's what they do.
Okay.
Kids come by,
Okay.
or people come by and draw that onto the door of your houses. You see that at least in villages everywhere, on every single house.
Yeah. I mean, we have it here. It's on my door here at the house. So
that's exactly what it is. And you probably this is funny. It's probably there every year. It changes every year, and you never knew where it came from, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That's where it comes from.
Yeah. So do they just fucking show up on your front doorstep and start drawing on your door without asking you, or what?
I don't know. It's not on every doorstep. I don't know. I was never really bothered much by it, and it's more like a loose thing. Some people do it. It's done in some areas, and some it's not. It's more like a kind of tradition thing more than anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we definitely don't do that. That's not an American thing at all, but it's interesting either way. Long story short, the Europeans celebrate Christmas for a much longer time than Americans do, and it's arguably a little bit more festive. Not to mention the Christmas markets that you guys do, which should be something that we start doing in the States because it's a fucking blast. If you've ever been to Germany and you've been to a Christmas market, you know what I'm talking about. It's fucking awesome. It's like the whole city just gets lit up with lights, and there's different booths, and there's mulled wine that you can buy and drink and go from booth to booth until you're so drunk that you can't stand up anymore. Yeah, it's German Christmas. I like it. Christmas is definitely better here. Yeah. So we establish in this film that this is not actually Santa Claus we're seeing. This is the Saint Nicholas character that's...
No, it is supposed to be Santa Claus, but the portrayal of him is something I wanted to bring up because I thought was interesting.
Yeah,
that in an American movie they actually decided to depict him as Saint Nicholas and not the actual Santa Claus we know. No? Because for me, also the same. It was always Santa Claus. I grew up with it. I was American. I knew American Christmas as a kid, and to me, it was always Santa Claus. I came to Europe and grew up in Germany. That was when I was confronted with Saint Nicholas and all that kind of stuff. when I saw it, because my family, even back in the day, where they're always atheists, my entire family, it was always just for us, always just Santa Claus or whatever, you know. But it was interesting to kind of
Yeah.
it was a culture shock definitely in the beginning for me. But I just thought it was
Yeah.
interesting in this movie that they decided to pick him as Saint Nicholas. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's the more pagan version. I mean, there's roots to Saint Nicholas that go back so long. I mean, honestly, we could make a whole episode out of that because,
Yeah.
depending on the country you come from, Santa Claus has his roots in Norse paganism, and it's borrowed from every bit of ancient religions that the Christians ended up converting into Christians when they took over the pagan world. And that's where Santa Claus comes from, right? There's nothing in the Bible about the Santa Claus. There's nothing in Christian tradition about a man who delivers stuff from house to house on Christmas. It all came from the pagans, from the Christmas trees to the wreaths, everything.
Yes, but I do think they're also Saint Nicholas. I would have to look it up. I'm not entirely sure if what I'm saying now is true. There was actually a guy that went around during Christmas time that gave presents to kids,
Yeah.
and that's where
Saint Nicholas was a real guy. That is
he
true.
was a real guy. Yeah, exactly.
But what I'm saying is that the modern idea of Santa Claus that you get, including the American one, is an amalgamation of Saint Nick and Odin and a couple other characters throughout Germanic history, all kind of pushed into one guy. And if you read up on it, on exactly what he is the amalgamation of like 6 different characters, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But that's where it comes from. I think it's interesting that it's lasted as long as it has, though.
Yeah.
Like, he is more well-known than probably any character in folklore worldwide. Everybody knows who Santa Claus is, right? Anyway, I digress. That might be something that we have to pick up on later. Like, a couple of our guests that we'll have later are really big into like history and that kind of thing. One of them specifically, he is an archaeologist and a doctor of ancient paganism, and he can tell you everything about it, but we'll have him on later. Anyway, back to the movie. So we get that opening scene where Saint Nick turns around and has this huge gash across his face that's bleeding, and something's banging on the stall doors to get in. We don't know what that is yet. And he says, well, it's begun. And then that's where this scene cuts, and we go to our next story in the anthology. Which one do you want to start with, Mike?
Okay, this is a difficult one. I think I would say let's start with the second most boring one, not the most boring one, but the second one. That's with the family. You know, like the family going, the family that gets slaughtered by Krampus. And I was that one. Yeah, I would say let's start with this story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you start that one off because this one bored the shit out of me so much I don't even know how it began.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. I mean, we can go through it very briefly and then talk about what we're going to do because this movie is way too confusing. However, yeah, like this family, they go to meet the mother of the dad, the grandma. No, then they're in this old mansion where you have like this super kind of like old grandma that is super strict, and one of the kid touches the Krampus toy and she screams, don't touch that, and blah, blah, blah. Then you have 3 fingers coming in and getting onto the kid because he's supposed to respect Christmas or whatever. And the kid throws down the Krampus figure that pisses off 3 fingers. And stupid thing is, in this story, this causes 3 fingers to turn into Krampus. Like this is
yes.
Like this,
I don't get this.
In this storyline, you have were Krampus. You know, like on full moon, he doesn't turn into a werewolf. On Christmas night, somebody turns into Krampus. So we have
Were Krampus. That's good. I like that. We're gonna call him Were Krampus from now on. That's exactly what it is. He's a fucking Were Krampus.
Yeah. After the dad goes off with his mom and tells her about something nobody really cares about, they decide to drive back home. And then they get into a car accident because where Krampus runs over the street, and the car just stops.
This is the thing, Mike. This part right here. This is where I feel like the bad writing starts because she sends him away from the house because he breaks the Krampus figure, right?
Yeah.
And
Krampus.
okay, that's fine. I can see that. Maybe she's upset because the figure's very old. She says that, right? So she sends them away. They go driving. Krampus runs in front of the car, causing their car to careen off the road and get stuck in the snow. This car is stuck in the snow, maybe a foot away from the street, right? And it's not deep snow. This snow is, this would have been very easy to get out of, the car being stuck in the snow. Like there's several things you could have done to just get the car out of the snow and back on the road.
Yeah.
They don't do that. They decide to get out of the car and go walking through the dark woods to go find somebody to help. That bothers the shit out of me. But okay.
I mean, this is what's stupid is this is okay. This is an area where smartphones already existed, and the point is, this is the middle of the winter. You do not know how cold it is. They're sitting in a car that's heated. I mean, you would just call a fucking tow service.
Exactly.
That's the thing that I thought was just okay. Like, so you could pretty much say at this point, the entire family, they're complete fucking idiots. Pretty much every single one of them, except for the one daughter, the teenage daughter. That's pretty much the entire time, basically telling them how fucking stupid it is what they're doing. No, then
he's the only smart one. And the family, like you said, would have probably made it to the end of the movie completely alive if they had just called a fucking tow truck. If the father had, God forbid, stepped outside and dug them out of the snow a little bit and then backed the fucking car back up on the road.
I know. I would have just called a fucking.
They could have
truck,
done
dude.
better.
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I would probably, how klutzy I would have probably injured myself doing that. But I would just call a fucking tow truck. I mean.
Yeah, well, there's an argument to be made for that. This is America. So we don't have ADAC, right?
Yeah.
We don't really have anything like that. So the only thing you can do is call a tow truck. And if you've ever been stuck anywhere in America, especially where these guys are, they're like out there, right? If you get broken down in America and you call a tow truck, it's going to be 5 to 6 hours before that tow truck gets there, right? So it would have been easier just to dig themselves out, but they didn't.
Yeah,
and
probably.
that's stupid. Yeah. Especially when you see the location where they are. They are literally dead smack in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah. However, they get out, go into the dark woods, as you said. Then from one second to the next, they just get attacked by Krampus. The dad falls on the floor and is bleeding. And then the son just decides, I'm going to go over and pick up a flare. Well, however, who cares? The kid's an idiot and he instantly gets killed by Krampus. Fine, I don't care. I mean, that was the thing that's like, oh my God, this guy is a complete fucking moron. But whoever, directly after that, he gets killed. It's okay, cool.
Well, I never liked this kid. This kid, it comes out later, in this story when she goes back to the house to talk to the grandmother. That this kid had issues. Like he was a little psychopath anyway. Yeah. Because his death is very unceremonious.
I mean, Matt, we're gonna go through story for story, and this one is insanely fucking short because.
Yes.
However, Psycho Kid is gone. The rest of the family flee from Krampus and arrive in a church.
Yeah.
Where they first lock themselves up. The dad is bleeding out. Yeah. And then the mom and the daughter are having a short discussion of what if this is actually Krampus, because the mom doesn't fully believe it. And then dad is like, we have to confess our sins. Okay. And why? He says Krampus is out because the father for some reason believes they're in a church now, and if they confess their sins, Krampus will leave them alone. And this is basically just a plot device where they all basically just say how much they fucked up, except for the mom. The teenage daughter says she has an issue that she steals stuff. I'm not sure. There's a term for that. People that have that kind of mental kleptomania. Exactly. Yeah. And then the dad basically, he's like, yeah, pretty much everything I've been telling you the last few years was a lie, that he's more or less just been scamming investors and all of that to get a lot of money and blah, blah, blah. And his wife is like totally fucking shocked. And, she's like, why? He says, yeah, come on, a guy like me with a woman like you and blah, 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 blah. No, this is like, yeah, I get that to a certain degree, but you're a fucking idiot. I mean,
he's a fucking moron. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, this woman started dating you. She married you. and she had 2 kids with you, and regardless of what issues this family might have, dude, I mean, you're a fucking idiot. I mean,
But this is what you see all the time though. Like this is so true to life. And I won't go on a big rant here, but I mean there are tons of men and women, right, that are in relationships that they think the only way that they can keep it going is if they have enough money to give the person enough things to keep them happy, right? And that's what this is. He basically says, there's no way I would have kept you if I had not continued to scam investors to make enough money to give you nice, pretty trinkets to keep you around.
but the funny thing is his wife is looking at him the entire time like, what the fuck are you talking? You could clearly see in her face that was not the reason why she was with him.
Yeah.
So you can see in her face that was like a total fucking surprise to her because she wanted him just more to be there for her and the kids. But however, the dad gets slaughtered by Krampus. He pulls him out of the window with one of his hooks. Mom and daughter hide in the confession booth, where Krampus decides to stick his tongue underneath the drawer to lick them out of the booth.
This is that part that feels very unnecessary to me.
It's just supposed to be the creepy
especially
part,
since the CGI is bad.
After this,
I know.
Yeah, after this, mom says something to the daughter. They leave the booth. Krampus slaughters the mother, and then you see Krampus. Krampus looks cool, by the way.
Yes.
And then the daughter just runs. Now she runs back to the mansion where her grandma is and tries to get into the house. Grandma, let me in, blah, 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 let me in. She walks around the house until she eventually gets attacked by Krampus again. She has a short showdown with Krampus. She pours gasoline over him and then sets him on fire. And while Krampus is burning, he transforms back into 3 fingers. So because we already established that this is not Krampus, it's where Krampus. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So in this story, Krampus turns into whoever, I guess, is upset about somebody ruining something about Christmas. Am I right with that?
Yeah. No, it's explained later on because after that happens, you see like 3 fingers just burning. Then you instantly just see later on it cuts directly to the daughter talking at the chimney fire with her grandma. Yeah. Going on about basically what happened and this and this and that. Then I'm not entirely sure what goes on in the discussion, but the grandma explains to her exactly what Krampus is. Because the teenage daughter asks, like, but why didn't you just fix the Krampus figure that would have prevented it, blah, 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 blah. And the grandma's like, oh, no, but Krampus is a Christmas spirit. And that he just possesses somebody who's extremely pissed off, like you said. And he possesses that person, and then that person transforms into Krampus. So it's where Krampus more or less does. So
right.
And pretty much this is where the teenage daughter gets pissed off because she makes the conclusion. That grandma sent them away because she knew that 3 fingers was going to turn into Were Krampus, and that she sent them away because she knew that Were Krampus would slaughter her family. She gets pissed off and then turns into Were Krampus, and you see you see the Were Krampus standing over grandma, and then that's where it cuts out. And that's literally the end of this story.
Yes.
And it's like, this would have been cool. This is another thing. This would have been cool if they would have put in like a werewolf-like transformation.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was thinking the same thing. Like, if they had made the transformation a little bit more interesting, I would have been into it. But you get a bunch of CGI that doesn't look good as she transforms into compost. They could have done a better job with this. And then, of course, the writing itself for this story is just generally very bad. You're right, Mike. This by far is probably the second most boring one.
Yes.
I will say Krampus, just like we said before, does look fantastic. I would love to see this character of Krampus come back in another movie, and maybe they could do a redo or something and make the story a little bit more interesting. This story is made even worse because you have to understand, me and Mike just went through the whole story. But while you're trying to watch this story, it's cutting between 4 other stories. So this takes the entire movie to tell.
And this is the thing where it's like what makes it chaotic, because for an anthology movie, and I like these kind of things, where you have like multiple stories that intertwine and lead up to a similar conclusion. Trick or Treat, you have like these were actually different stories happening congruent to each other. But thing is, this is like basically just 4 entirely different stories filmed and clashed into one movie. Because it's very loosely are they interconnected, to a point that makes it hard to follow them all.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to see. The only common denominator these things have is Krampus. But
kind of. I think there's one story in this that has nothing to do with Krampus, and that's the one of the teens that have gone into the school. Like, he has nothing to do with it.
The Temu supernatural story is what you're calling. But this one is like the
Temu supernatural. That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
This is the Were Krampus story, but this is the funny thing. The entire plot is literally a werewolf plot.
Yes, it is. The formula works if you do it right. They did not do it right, so it did not work.
It would have been funny. This would have been actually cool if it would have been a werewolf story. They thought Krampus was following them, but it was actually a werewolf, for example. And Three Fingers was the werewolf.
Yeah.
And the daughter at the end turns into a werewolf because she got bit or some shit like that. That would have been interesting. But how?
Whatever. This is the throwaway story for this.
Yes. And then I think that this is like there are 4 different stories, and I think we're going to get into next to the most boring one. This is the one you specifically hated.
God damn it, dude! This is a rough
supernatural story. I mean, it's like okay.
There are a few problems with this one.
Yes. I mean, my thing is, this is also something, this could have been saved. Absolutely. Because what I literally, as a Supernatural fan, watching this scene, had the entire time in my head, literally in this story, you wait the entire time for Sam and Dean to come in. Sorry. I mean, you are literally watching.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
I was watching this part of the movie and asking myself the entire time, where are Sam and Dean Winchester?
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like this may, and you might want to do your research here, but it feels like this may have been a throwaway episode of Supernatural that they didn't use. And they were like, hey, we need a story to put in this movie because we need an extra like half an hour of footage of some kind. And the writers from that were like, well, we have this story that we scrapped because we didn't think it was good enough. So why don't you just use that? Because that's exactly what this is.
This is like the only, we can go through this story very, very fast. The only way this story, the Temu Supernatural story, is connected to the Were Krampus story because you have like 3 teenagers meeting in front of school. And one of these teenagers is the boyfriend of the teenage daughter from the Were Krampus story.
Right.
You can see like these 3 teenagers, they're like 2 girls, 2 guys. You have the teenage daughter from Were Krampus that is in a relationship with the one guy. You can clearly see that with the other 2, there's just some normal dude and a normal girl. They're both decent guys, but the other guy is like, I'm gonna call him what should I call him? Teenage daughter's boy toy. I don't know. However, we're just gonna call him Jack. I'm just calling him Jack for the sake so we know. Jack is the guy that's in a relationship with the teenage daughter from Were Krampus.
Yeah.
Then there's the other 2 kids, because the teenage daughter gets picked up by her family for some reason. And shortly before that, her and Jack make out a little bit. And you can see this, like the other 2 kids that are there. You have like the guy and the other kind of blonde girl. And you can see like that the other guy looking over at the blonde girl. So it kind of felt to me like kind of the vibe that the other guy was kind of had a little bit of crush on the blonde girl.
Yeah.
However, then they leave. The teenage Were Krampus girl leaves with her family, and they go off into the school because apparently in the basement of their school there's a ghost haunting in the basement on Christmas Eve for some reason.
Yeah.
So these kids
A very
decide they want-
murderous ghost. Well, this is something that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And if you look back at it, it really doesn't make sense because what they're doing in the car before they go into the school is watching video footage that they lifted from a police station. And it shows the filming of the 2 murders that happened there, right? And so what you have is a cop and a cameraman that go down into the basement of this place, and they walk in, and it's supposed to be the room something bad happened, right?
Yeah.
And across the wall is a Bible passage that says, "Unto us this day a son is born, a child is given," and it's scrawled in blood on the wall, right? And so the cop points to that, reads it out loud, and then starts to hear something that nobody else can hear. The cameraman can't hear it either, and it's a Christmas song about baby Jesus in the manger and all this stuff. When he hears that, all of a sudden, I think it's the girl drops from the ceiling behind him dead. But on the wall next to him is the body of a man who's been crucified backwards, hanging on the wall. Now, if this ghost does what it's supposed to do, that we see it do towards the end of the story, then that girl that falls from behind him on the ceiling would not be dead. Right?
You're right, but that's not what happens in this story because these kids get locked into the basement. The story is
I don't remember
basically
anything.
after that. This is literally the only thing that happens in this story is you have like Jack having a few visions of this ghost or whatever. The blonde girl gets possessed by the ghost. When the blonde girl is possessed by the ghost, she tries to seduce Jack, and he lets her down. Like he says here, this isn't going to happen. I have a girlfriend. Then she kills him with I don't know. It's never shown how, but I'm just guessing she's going to use some kind of telepathic mumbo jumbo stuff to. Yeah, however, whatever. Yeah, she kills him. Then she goes over to whatever guy and seduces him. And after they banged, she gets off of him, and blonde girl snaps back into her character because she's still possessed by the ghosts. She's like, "What the hell did you do to me?" And whatever guy is like, "What I did to you." Because this is just like
raped him, basically.
For this guy, it wasn't a normal situation. All of a sudden, the girl he had a crush on was coming on to him. So, however,
he did what every guy would do, right?
Yeah, she was possessed by this ghost or whatever, and it was just weird. The pacing is weird in this because I'm not sure if it comes across as if they were trying to show a bad experience a lot of women have with guys, trying to set this kind of up. But it's really poorly done because you can see that she has blood on her skirt. So suggesting that it was her first time. But the thing is, it's poorly written because, for one, she seduces him. Whatever guy was literally sleeping. And it hints towards that whatever guy had a crush on this girl. And she comes in, is flirting with him, seducing him or whatever. And he really liked this girl. So, probably for him it was just like best Christmas or whatever. She didn't appear to be drunk. She didn't appear to have any issues. No. And it's just badly written. However, after this, shortly they hear something happening in the other room. They went over there. They see Jack is dead. Then they go into another room, and then they're confronted by the ghost.
Yes.
This ghost kills whatever guy, and then possesses blonde girl again. Apparently fully possessing her, and then just opens up the door and walks out the building. That's it. Yeah, so that's
incoherent as fuck.
Yeah, shortly before that, you have like Jack seeing this girl, having an abortion with nuns or whatever.
Yeah.
What's really weird, because just like I said, this entire story, and throughout the entire story, you're waiting for Sam and Dean Winchester to come in, because this is like,
You're waiting basically for anyone to rescue this story from the hell that it drove itself into. Because this is dreadfully boring.
Supernatural has multiple ghost episodes. It's a common thing. And this is like literally the basic plot of a Supernatural episode. From beginning to end. You're like, where are Sam and Dean when you need them?
Right.
Yeah, that's
It's a supernatural episode done badly. And there's a few things here. It feels to me like this story on its own was kind of filler for the rest of the movie. Like they needed something else to do, so they kind of shoehorned this in there. And there's a lot about the story that doesn't work. You don't really know what's going on the whole time, other than there's a few things that happen in the school that shouldn't happen, like the door locks behind them. There's another scene where a door slams behind them and they don't really think anything of it. If it was me, I would definitely think something of it and try to get the fuck out of there, but they just ignore it for whatever reason. It is fucking freezing outside, so it's probably at least freezing because all the snow's on the ground. You can see everybody's breath. The girl is wearing a short skirt with no real leggings or anything like that, and that was in there specifically to make the rape scene work better so that she didn't have to take off her clothes. That makes no sense.
yeah. Even though
And
it's
then
not
the
a rape,
story,
even though it's not a rape scene,
yeah, it's
it's supposed.
not.
It's
It's not because he thought it was her, but the ghost technically rapes the guy, right? Is what it
yeah,
comes.
exactly. Technically, yeah.
Yeah. And then the story of the girl who died because her baby was taken from her, and that's why she wants to have this girl impregnated, is very half-assed done. It's not explained very well. This whole thing feels like a throwaway. And that's why when you watch this movie, I don't think anybody remembers this particular story in this movie. It didn't
I
need to be
didn't
there
either.
other than for fill time. And
Yeah,
yes,
I
I
didn't.
would for the two characters from Supernatural to show up the whole time. Anyway, I'm glad that one is out of the way because that one sucks.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, what would have totally saved it is if you would have some kind of Sam and Dean equivalent come in and save them, because of course at that point, okay, now it's just a Supernatural parody that would have made it kind of funny. I have to be honest.
Yeah,
that would
that
have
would've
kind
been
of
good.
saved it. Nah, but
I mean, a lot of this movie is tongue in cheek too. It's like it's done kind of funny. It's not a horror per se, like a dark horror. It's dark comedy. So yeah, anything would have saved that story with a little bit of humor.
yeah, okay.
But that was terrible.
Yeah, because now we have that out of the way, and we only have two stories left. And
Yes.
these are like the two main stories. I mean, the main story is, of course, the one with Santa Claus, and then the Changeling story. I personally liked the Changeling story, even though you didn't really like it as much, I guess.
Well, I'm not going to say I didn't like it. I thought it's good. It's well filmed. The acting is good. There is some gore in this as well, and it's believable. Super interesting. It's not, but whatever. I mean,
Yeah,
this movie working hinges on the Santa Claus story. So I'm fine with this one being in there. This is definitely the least boring of all the other ones. I'll say
Yes.
that. How about that?
I mean,
Yes.
the point is we don't really have to go through the entire story because it's very simple. It just takes the old folklore of changelings.
Yes.
I'm not really super aware of the actual changeling folklore. A lot of it I know from pop culture.
Yeah.
However, actually, that people always used to believe that changelings kidnapped children and then replaced the child with one of their own. And this changeling slaughtered the rest of the family or the village or fed off of their life energy, something like that. I mean,
Right,
usually
right.
in pop
That's basically what a changeling is. Yeah.
pop culture, it's mostly like the changeling feeding off the parents. Supernatural.
Yeah. Yeah. Again,
Yeah, I mean
again,
they did this. I mean, Supernatural. One thing you can say about Supernatural, it strongly leads into all of these different folklore things. But
yes.
don't want to get into that because this is not a Supernatural podcast. But however, the family
Well, I
goes
mean,
out.
it makes sense though because Supernatural is thrown together from all these different folklore stories. That's what makes
Yeah.
that series. So that's why this feels like that.
Yes,
Makes sense.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing is, this could also easily be a Supernatural episode, but it's well made. I liked it.
Yeah, it's
How-
well made. The acting is good.
It's pretty simple. You have like this family going in to get a Christmas tree. To cut down a Christmas tree. And the thing is, they go to a place where they're not supposed to go. They trespass there, cut down the tree. On the way back, the kid goes missing. Parents go after him, find the kid again, then go back home. Turns out throughout the story, it's not their kid, it's a changeling. And this changeling, of course, the kid is acting weird or whatever. It instantly starts acting hostile towards the dad because the dad sits down and tries to prevent his kid from eating so crazy. And then the changeling hits the dad with a fork. The dad first screams, jumps back, and, you know, kind of makes a slapping, but natural reaction, no? But this hints towards that the dad is a little bit abusive. It turns out later on. I mean,
I wouldn't say he's abusive. I think he's a cop, right?
He's a cop, but the point is, later on, it comes out that the dad falls asleep on the couch after he wanted to get on with his wife. She turned him down because the worst moment possible, she came out of the shower, and when she came out of the shower, the changeling was watching her as their son. And she told him to get out, but after a few times, he eventually left.
Yeah, this changeling's a little bit of a perverse bastard, man.
Yeah,
I will say that. He's a little fucking pervert.
It is. However, she instantly comes out, tells this to the dad, and he starts hitting on her. Or coming on to her. I think that's the right term that Americans use. And it's like, okay, dude.
Bad
like,
timing on his part.
Ever. I mean, your wife is telling you something's up with the kid. You notice it too, and the first thing you want to do is try to get in bed with her. I mean, no fucking wonder she's turning you down, you fucking idiot. But
really, really bad timing on his part. This guy.
I mean, yeah. I mean, however, then he falls asleep on the couch, wakes up, and sees that the Christmas presents are opened.
Yeah.
Now, while this is happening, the wife is sitting on the bed, and the changeling is kind of coming up onto her. Creepy scene, at least.
Yeah, it is odd. I didn't. This was an odd choice.
Yeah.
Because traditionally changelings don't do stuff like this, but they chose to go creepy with it for whatever reason.
Yeah. How
the kid is feeling her up while she's sleeping, and it's really odd.
Weird. It's odd. However, shortly before she goes to bed, she checks up on their kid.
Yeah.
And shortly before she leaves the room, you can see the reflection of the kid in the window. And you can see that it's a changeling. Then the wife gets a call from the guy that owned the property where they got the tree from. He basically tells her, what's sleeping in your kid's bedroom is not your kid. It's a changeling, blah, blah, blah. Mom says, go fuck off. Don't call me again.
Yeah, she doesn't believe him, which I don't think anybody would.
Yeah, hangs up and goes to bed. Then there's a scene where the dad wakes up and sees the presents are opened and storms into the kid's bedroom. The mom instantly wakes up too and halfway tries to protect the kid. This is what shows the dad's abusive. Because he first tries to tell, did you open up the presents? And the mom is kind of holding the kid and he's smiling at him. And then the father just takes off his belt. And the point is here, Matt, there's no excusing this guy anymore, because if you even think of hitting your kids with a belt, that's abuse. That's all it is, Matt. It's abusive.
Of course, but I'm not excusing the dad's behavior in any way, right? Yeah. But this little shit stabbed him in the hand with a fork.
Yeah.
And then was a little shit all the way to when they put him into bed. And now he went through all the presents. And when his dad goes to confront him and says, did you do this? Blah, blah, blah. And mom protects him. He shoots the dad that shitty little smile like, yeah, no matter what you do, she's going to protect me, bitch. I'd be fucking angry at this kid, too. I wouldn't hit him, but God damn it, he's testing some fucking patience here. I will say that.
I know he's testing. I mean, it would be okay if he would be screaming at him and would be pissed off.
Yeah.
But instantly taking off his belt, Matt, come on.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm not saying that's okay. I'm not saying you but I understand this guy.
I'm going to be honest.
I do understand.
No, I don't. I don't at all. Because the point is, he sees this happening. The first thing you would do, wake up your wife. Not here. Look what the kid done again. Of course, even though you're pissed, talk it through with your wife or whatever. Okay, what are we going to do? And blah, blah, blah. We have to discipline him. How are we going to do it? Blah, blah, blah. But this is just, I'm sorry, dude. No. Okay. This also comes across, the wife protects the kid. I think after the dad also tries to beat him with the belt. Then the wife says, you said you would get help and blah, blah, blah. But this specifically says he's done this before.
Yeah, right.
At least to her, at least. Maybe not
Yeah,
to the
it
kid.
does hint that he's abusive.
Yeah.
You're right.
So this is abusive father. Okay.
Yeah.
She kicks him out of the room. She goes back to her bedroom, and the thing with the changeling still is going through her head because both of the parents notice that the kid is acting strange.
The kid is off. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She goes in her room, does research on the changeling, and of course, this is the point where the changeling sees the father as a threat and kills the father, and then cuts off his hand, wraps him with the Christmas lights next to the tree, and then starts sitting on the floor playing with the dad's hand. The mom does research on changelings. Eventually, the more and more research she does, she can see her own situation in this. The more she comes to believe that it's a changeling and not her kid. No, exactly. Then I think the guy from where they got the Christmas tree, old guy, I'm going to call him, calls her again. It tells her, here, you have to bring the changeling back to my property where you got the Christmas tree. And then mom, she doesn't hang up because this is the point where she believes the guy. And she's like, here, you have to do it this way. The changeling has already tasted human pleasures. It's not going to go willingly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So whenever you try to take it, get it to come with you, don't make it suspicious.
There should have been a hint to the viewer as well that this guy that's calling her, whose property it was that they took the tree from, has an ulterior motive to this. So it sounds the whole time like he's trying to help her get her kid back, but he never once says to her, if you bring the changeling back here, you can get your kid back. All he says to her is, bring the changeling back to my property.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, but he also says, but she asks, I want my kid back. And then he says, the only way that is possible is if you bring the kid back to my property. And she asks him, where is my kid? And he says, I don't know. I do think that this guy generally doesn't know. So maybe he doesn't. She approaches the kid in the front room, see he's playing with the dad's hand, noticing that the dad is dead. Halfway keeping herself together, goes and gets a bat. Okay, kind of stupid. You were told, don't make it suspicious. Yeah. It won't come willingly. Well, the first thing she does is grab a bat.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think she has any interest in this thing coming willingly anyway, though. You know what I mean?
No. I mean, the thing is, that's probably why she got the bat. The changeling notices that she wants to attack him because she's holding a bat, attacks her, and then the mom just beats the shit out of the changeling with the bat.
This is a scene, Mike, when I was watching it, I was like, well, this would be a really bad scene to just walk in on. You know what I mean? Like if somebody's watching a movie and you walk in and you see the movie that they're watching and you see a mom beating up a child with a baseball bat, this would have not been the scene that you would have wanted to walk in on. He's fucking wailing on this kid with this bat, dude. And if you didn't have context, you'd be like, what the fuck am I watching?
Exactly. However, she stuffs him in the bag, and then the next thing you see is her dragging the bag through the property up towards the tree where they found their kid. I guess probably this is just where she first thought to start looking for him. What made logical sense.
Yeah.
Then the old guy comes out and says, oh yeah, you brought him. And you see the bag moving, and then he kicking the bag, screaming something at it.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck were you doing? However, then the old guy says, these things have been on my property for years, and me and my family have been looking after them. And then you see further off in the dark woods, multiple changelings.
Yes.
Now,
little blowy eyes.
Yeah. This
little
is
blowy
actually
eyes in the
cool
woods
scene.
looking back. It's a pretty good scene. Yeah.
It is a great scene, by the way. In this moment, the bag opens up and the changeling comes out in its normal form. Mom, totally panicked, not knowing what to do, pulls the gun out and is pointing at the old guy and then at the changeling. No fucking idea what to do, just basically saying, I want my kid.
Yeah.
Where's my kid? Now the changeling is just standing there looking at her and at the old guy, because the old guy is now screaming at the changeling or whatever. The old guy screams and comes towards the mom, and reflect or scared, she shoots the old guy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it seemed like probably the old guy was probably not being nice to these changelings.
I would assume not.
Somehow he has some kind of pull over them. How is unclear, but the changeling walks up to the mom. And the mom just said, please give me my kid back. Please give me my kid back. First, you think that changing is going to do something to her, but it's like, okay, it was clear that the changelings did not like this old guy. So the changing just walks into the tree, and then you see her kid coming walking back out. Kind of like a thing like, okay, she killed this guy. She killed this guy that we hated, so in change, here you can have your kid back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, she takes off her jacket, wraps her kid in it, and then walks off with her kid.
Yeah.
End of that story. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Arguably still kind of a boring story, but by far more interesting than the other ones that have happened so far.
Well, I liked it. I liked the story. This would have been.
I didn't dislike it. I just thought it was kind of like.
Yeah.
It was still better than the other ones. I'll say that.
Yeah. I mean, I
thought what would have made this one better though, Mike, is it kind of felt, and what I thought was going to happen is that this guy was the keeper of the changelings on his property. Like he was the only guy that kept them in line, and she accidentally shot him and killed him. So I thought what was going to happen is now that she's shot this guy, that seals her doom, because then the changelings are just free to do whatever they want, and they would attack her and the kid, and they would both die. That would have made it more interesting than how it happened. I don't know why they didn't do that, but whatever. It's a horror movie. You should have done that. But whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. It wasn't bad. I would have made some different choices, but whatever.
Yeah, but okay, then it comes to the main story. And this is the main story. This is the story that it makes the movie, definitely, because throughout all of the other scenes, you're waiting for it to go back to this story.
Yes.
The zombie apocalypse at North Pole.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say this one too, it was infuriating to watch the movie because this is so well done and so interesting that you just wanted to keep watching it. But they kept cutting back at the worst time possible to the other stories, right when it started to get good. And so, like I said, if you just watch this one by itself, minus the other ones, it would be a fantastic short film. This is done very well.
Yes,
and it's great.
Yeah.
I am a little confused about the elves, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, you could have put it out to be a full-on movie, you know?
Yeah.
Like, how should I say? If it was well done, you could have kind of written this you should have left the Timu Supernatural story out because that fits no way in with the others. The other three stories, though, I say you could connect them because they were also connected. You just have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Because the abusive father, was one of the cops that was investigating the death of Timu Supernatural.
Right.
Kids. And of course, you could have also very easily connected the Were Krampus story to Santa Claus, but making it an actual Krampus story, and I don't know, connected it to the zombie apocalypse in Santa Claus's workshop.
Yes. This, for me, in this movie, this is the only story that understood the assignment. Like, and I don't know. It's weird to know how these movies come about, because this is one that the way that it's done and the way that it's written, if you had written a little bit more and filmed a little bit more, could have been an outstanding movie on its own.
Yes, could have. Absolutely. Because the thing is, well, what I like about this is it's brilliantly made, but what actually is going on, if you pay attention, is clear from the beginning of it. Because it's a typical Santa Claus thing. You have Santa Claus in his workshop with his elves or whatever, having his golden staff, or his St. Nicholas staff. And the elves are going through things like, there's a blizzard here, problem there. And Santa Claus like, not an issue. I've been through all of that before. However, Miss Santa Claus comes into the room. And then they're all like having like, great night or whatever. The one brings in cookies and hot chocolate, typical Santa Claus thing going on. Except for the one elf that's kind of pissed off. And he's like, come on, do you not want a cookie? And because he feels like a little bit sick, And the Santa Claus is like, oh, do you not
Yeah.
want a cookie? He's like, nah, thanks. And everybody's like totally shocked because he doesn't want a cookie. No?
Yeah,
This
they even
Santa-
say normally you love cookies.
Yeah. However, this Santa Claus comes up to the elf and tries to give him a cookie because, oh, you know, you love cookie. And then the elf screams something like, oh, you stupid bitch, and stabs her with this. This is something that surprised.
Yeah,
Because you're not expecting
yeah,
it.
it
huh?
is. It feels very out of place, but it works.
Yeah.
It works really well. And this is the part, Mike, where I regret that I saw the movie in German instead of English, because I would love to know what he actually said, because what he said in German sounded really bad. He was like, I don't want any cookies, you stupid fucking whore, or some shit like that.
He says something like that on that line. That's what he says. That's what I'm not exactly, I don't know the exact wording, but that's the line kind of thing he says. However, the elf falls down dead, and everybody is shocked because the other elves are like, he's dead, but elves can't die. Or of course they all look at Santa Claus as like, elves can't die, and the Santa Claus is like, no, they can't.
No, elves can't die. They're immortal. I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
This is like, nobody knows what's going on. Of course, what it is that this elf is infected with some kind of zombie virus. They bury him, what is later stated on by Santa Claus, because he comes into the room and he says like, I think Jingles was his name. I'm not sure.
Jingles, yeah. Jingles is the elf's name.
That somehow he got back up and all of the elves are infected now and blah, blah, blah. That's a scene that comes on, later. Because the next scene that you see in the Santa Claus scene is you have like the Santa Claus workshop and one of the elves that's clearly now a zombie just staring at Santa Claus.
Yeah, it's a good scene too.
Great
I love
scene.
it. I love it. He's got his office up like upstairs. It's like your typical workshop where all the workers are down here, and then the guy who's in charge of everything has his office behind glass, and that's what you're seeing is him looking out of his office down into the workshop, which is in total disarray, like destroyed. And there's a catwalk, and Jingles is standing on the catwalk, just staring at him like ominously. But it's not clear exactly what has happened to the elves. It's like nobody says the word zombie.
No,
so you're not sure what's
the only thing that Santa Claus says is that the elves are infected.
Mm-hmm.
And he barricades the door. I mean, I'm not sure if this is where Miss Santa Claus, Miss Santa Claus, I think, is also in the room. Yeah,
she's in the room with him, and he locks her in there to keep her safe.
He locks her in there to keep her safe and tells her this basically, and then she's basically just staying there. However, now the zombie elves crash through the barricade coming in, but this is like what things that confuse you because you're not sure what they are because they can still talk.
Yeah, I kind of thought maybe these are vampires because you see their teeth are now elongated as well.
Yeah, but you could, if they were vampires, they wouldn't go down that easy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, well, that's what made me think they weren't vampires. But me and Chrissy were watching it, and we're like, "These vamps."
No, they're zombies. They're clearly intelligent zombies. That is something that is rarely done, but it's also done in zombie stories. I mean, Return of the Living Dead is a prime example.
Yeah.
But that's bad. But
come to the hospital. Come to the hospital.
One thing that has done this concept very well, even though it's not horror, is the TV show iZombie. Brilliant show. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Even though
it's
a comedy, but it's a brilliant show. I love iZombie. All 5 seasons. I love it. You can clearly see in this scene the zombie elves attack Santa Claus, and he kills the last one by cutting off half of its head where you see the brain come out. Now, the thing where you can see that these are zombies, because later on, this elf, again, I think it's Jingles, attacks Santa Claus, and you can still see
Jingles,
that his brain is exposed. The thing is, if this was a vampire, Matt, he would have been healed.
Oh, yeah. This is that at that point, that's when I realized these are zombies.
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't have been done to a vampire. They would have healed up. And from this scene on, I love this, because from this scene on, it's a splatter fest. It's fucking great.
I mean,
it is Sam Raimi level splatter stuff.
Yeah. I mean, great scene. This scene alone is absolutely great. You see Santa Claus going back down, walking through basically the plot is Santa Claus going through the workshop, slaughtering zombie elves,
Yes.
trying to figure out what's going on. But Santa Claus clearly shows how could this happen? Only if it was him again. So
Right.
Krampus. So this is
Yeah.
where Krampus is mentioned, kind of hinted towards by Santa Claus.
Santa Claus, yeah.
However, it comes down then to a later scene where he's down in the workshop, and he gets attacked by multiple other elves again. One stabs him in the foot. He kills that elf because before going down from his office to the workshop, he goes into this elevator and he gets attacked by multiple of these zombie elves.
And then the elevator closes on him with the elves inside of it.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant.
And it opens back up. All the zombie elves are dead, and Santa Claus walks out into the workshop, where he gets attacked again by multiple other zombie elves that he slaughters.
Yeah.
The last one is Jingles, where you see his exposed brain or whatever. He comes running towards him, and of course he kills him with his golden staff.
Yeah. But you're probably about to say this, but I love this scene because he gets Jingles almost dead. Jingles is on the ground. His staff gets knocked out of his hand, so he doesn't have anything to like beat on Jingles with. So what he does is he grabs the severed head of another elf, sticks his fingers into the eyeballs of the head, like the eye sockets, and then starts beating the shit out of Jingles with the head of the other elf. And it's just this great bloody scene, dude. I fucking love that. Brilliantly done.
Yeah.
And brutal as fuck.
Of course.
Just out there brutal.
It is. And then after that, Santa Claus goes back up to the other room to check on Miss Santa Claus. She, at this point, has to kill a few zombie elves, and Miss Santa Claus got infected and is now also a zombie.
Yes.
But she attacks Santa Claus, and he gets this scar we see from that we saw in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Of course, he kills Miss Santa Claus and then goes down to his his reindeer and closes the door. Now, the only thing, if this was a real story, that nothing happens to the reindeer. So the animals are fine in this one. However, this is also the coolest scene, but also kind of a little bit of letdown because Santa Claus grabs his staff, gets ready, and Krampus comes crashing through the doors.
Yeah. Same Krampus we saw earlier, the big buff Arnold Schwarzenegger version of Krampus. I'm going to eat you for breakfast, Mr. Claus.
However, this is where you have
your eyes out with the smoky, you idiot.
This is where the final boss fight between Krampus and Santa Claus goes down.
Yeah.
What starts pretty cool, it all looks really just like you said. This fight between Krampus and Santa Claus starts brilliantly, really gets going, and then it just abruptly ends.
Yes.
Because Krampus falls on the floor, and all of a sudden he screams, "Norman, please don't kill me. Please don't kill me, Norman."
Yeah, in a normal voice. This was highly confusing. Yes.
When I saw this the first time, it's super confusing. Like, what is going on now? Then it cuts back to a normal mall where we have this one guy laying on the floor. "Please don't kill me, Norman. Please don't kill me." Now, this is the funny thing. Now, then you see a guy dressed as Santa Claus. This guy is Norman, that Captain Kirk mentions at the beginning. First opening scene. He says something, and Norman stands up, pulls a piece of paper to the window where it says "fuck Christmas," and he leaves it.
Yeah.
And this is where you shortly see this is just a guy, Norman, dressed up as Santa Claus. He was playing Santa Claus in this mall or whatever.
Yeah.
You see him in the bathroom standing in front of a mirror. Like, this guy is super fucked up. He has strong mental issues. Probably also a drinking problem. Is getting ready to be Santa Claus. You see him putting on his Santa Claus suit, first totally pissed off, and then going into his role and then walking out. And you can see this is funny thing. Then it shuts back because, like Norman realizing what's going on. It shots between scenes of the zombie elves and then the normal co-workers. And this is where it realizes that the entire Santa Claus thing is just all happening in Norman's fucked up mind. He's walking through a mall, slaughtering all of the employees with an axe.
And the kids. You can't forget the fucking kids, dude. Like, the whole scene where he gets put in the elevator with the elves and it closes, with the elves inside and then opens up. You get a brief scene of him walking out of an elevator with a bunch of fucking dead kids. So like, basically Norman got in an elevator with a bunch of kids and slaughtered them all, thinking they were zombie elves, which this is brilliant.
This is, I mean, because the crazy thing is, it goes by scene, all of the main scenes where you see Santa Claus slaughtering the zombie elves, and it cuts between Norman's delusion and reality. And it's super. You said like Norman realizing it for a short second, and you see the scene where Santa Claus is with his reindeer, and you see this strange light bashing in. That's actually the cops. Because,
I know.
because the cops are with lights at him. Stop, no, stop, or we'll shoot. You have like this kind of scene of Norman struggling with himself to separate reality from his delusion, but in the end, loses to his delusion and goes back into he's Santa Claus, the house of Krampus. He pulls up the axe, wanting to kill the final employee, and the cops shoot him. And that is more or less the end of the movie. You have like Captain Kirk saying something I don't remember, and that I don't care about.
It's just William Shatner being William Shatner saying something stupid at the end of the movie. But to be fair, like, love the setup. I love the setup.
Yes.
There's a lot of setups in horror movies that don't really do a good job of the setup, but this one had me fooled all the way through the movie. Yes. I did not see this coming.
Absolutely. But what it's brilliantly done. This main story alone, just I agree with you. It would have been brilliantly if this was the main movie, and they would have put it to like a 1.5 hour plot set. Would have been great if it was done well, and they could have connected the other stories to this some way if it was written good enough that it could have been a perfect Christmas equivalent to Trick or Treat. But what they didn't do, because the main thing that drew me specifically to this was the Santa Claus thing. I heard from people that it's a zombie apocalypse in Santa Claus's workshop. So that's what also appealed to me about it. But the funny thing is what I noticed straight up to begin with, that actually what the movie brilliantly does in convincing you that this is Santa Claus workshop, nothing in any scene at any point looks like a Santa Claus workshop. Every single scene you see, Matt, looks like a mall. It looks like an office.
Yes, it does.
Just with a dark filter put over it to make it appear as Santa's workshop. When I watched it the first time, I kind of liked it because it had its charm. Because, this is low budget, and they didn't have money for the set, so they just put a filter over it and put the other thing into the zombie elf and Santa Claus things. And the Krampus things. But what is funny is in the end, it comes out that is just Norman that is totally psychotic and delusional. What made it brilliant, because the entire time, it's not Santa's workshop, it's just a fucking mall, and he's slaughtering.
It's a mall.
Yeah.
But it's done so well, I didn't notice. I just assumed it was Santa's workshop, and they, like you said, they didn't have the budget to create the workshop, so they put a filter over a guy walking through the mall. Turns out in the end, that was on purpose, and you don't realize that until you see the final scene. It's great.
Yeah, and the last scene, that is where you realize that, because I'm not sure, watch it again. Specifically, after watching it the second time, I noticed that. But in the first time, I did not realize that it's literally just a mall. That is why this story itself is brilliantly. If this would have been a movie in itself, you would have had the entire time the feeling like they just put a dark filter over it and kind of made it look like a Santa's workshop, because it was a B movie and didn't have the budget, until the end, where it comes that reveal. And it is literally just a fucking mall, and this guy is just some wacko who thinks he's
slaughtering his way through the mall.
That brilliant.
And this is one of those things that I don't understand about, because this is a Hollywood movie, right? And so
yes, I think so.
With Hollywood horror films, because it's Hollywood, studios get involved a lot and change things. And ultimately, at the end, usually Alien 3 is a good example. It doesn't come out being what it was supposed to be. And I can't help but think that somebody pitched this story of Santa Claus with zombie elves and thought it would be a good idea. And then the studio was like, no, we got to make this an anthology. It'll be better that way. That's probably what happened, because this story alone, and I know I've already said it a million times, this story alone and the way this was filmed and the way it was done should have been its own film. And it would have been a famous film if they had done it that way. But they didn't. They watered it down with all these other stories that didn't fit. And that's sad. The other missed opportunity, too, was the Krampus fight between Santa Claus and Krampus. That should have gone on longer and could have been cooler. But with the idea of the whole story in mind, it makes sense, because Krampus would not have put up that big of a fight, and it would not have been epic, because it's just another guy who's, you know, an unwilling participant in this guy's psychopathy. But still, overall, if they want to remake this and make just this a movie, I'll watch it all day long, because it was great.
It's brilliant. It's great. It's brilliantly done. Yeah. And that's just kind of a thing. It's a missed opportunity on so many levels, because I brought up the equivalent, the Christmas equivalent to Trick or Treat, because it's what the movie obviously is trying to do.
Yeah.
But it's just like, you have like even a lot of these stories. I mean, the Were Krampus story could have been cool if it was a werewolf and the family thought it was Krampus following them.
Yes. Yes.
Brilliant idea, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just badly written, and the scenes, the stories were not really connected well. The way they were connected were very, very small things, and the Captain Kirk radio show that is, you know, kind of connecting the stories.
Yes.
And of course, the zombie apocalypse in Santa's workshop, that was the most appealing thing. That was also the reason why it was quite some years ago. I think I watched this movie in 2017. It was relatively new. And I heard
this is my first time seeing it. So.
I heard from it that it's a movie about a zombie apocalypse in Santa Claus's workshop.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Like I said, the actual film poster is very misleading, because that's what it portrays this movie being.
Yeah.
And that's maybe 10% of what this movie is. So the marketing was smart, because they marketed it to be something that people would want to watch. And then when you go see it, you realize that's not what the movie's about. So it's a little bit of a letdown, but smart marketing.
Yeah.
I still wonder how the hell I didn't see this movie. Blows my mind I haven't seen it before. But whatever.
I know,
I just missed it. I have no idea what was going on at that time. Maybe some of the films. But yeah, overall, I don't know. It's tough to rate this film. It's tough to rate anthology films, man. Like, you'll never see an episode of Tales from the Crypt that I liked every story. Like, there might be one story in Tales from the Crypt that I love, but because they intertwined the other stories that were part of that episode into it so well, it was overall good, right? But if I had to rate this one by story, the Santa Claus one gets a 10, period. It gets a 10. It's well done, beautifully acted, gory as fuck. The other ones are maybe a 5. And as a film in general, I'd give this one a 7.
Yeah, I would give it the same thing. I mean, for me also, I would say the Santa Claus story, yes, I would agree with that 10. The Changeling story, I would give it an 8, because I liked it. I thought it was pretty well made. But the other two, I would agree with you, 5. When I watched it the first time and Krampus came in, okay, cool. It was recently, shortly after I saw the Krampus movie. Yeah. But then it's like, okay, it's just Were Krampus. I thought that was dumb. I mean, at that point, they should have just made it a werewolf story. You know, that would have been cooler. But
it would have. I mean, and it would have still been Christmas themed, because they could have said they thought it was Krampus, and then it ends up being a werewolf. I mean, that movie could still get made, honestly. Maybe we should pitch that shit. Maybe we should pitch that, because that's actually brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't do that. But you can tell that they had the werewolf thing in mind when they did this.
Yeah.
It's obvious, because it is a werewolf story. It's just that
it's a werewolf story. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, the worst thing is, of course, Timu so the supernatural throwaway story. Whereas, I mean, it's generic.
I don't know.
The plot is literally a generic supernatural episode. Literally.
Yeah.
Just except just Sam and Dean aren't in it. And let's be honest, what is Supernatural out without Sam and Dean or Castiel?
Yeah. They could have fixed that by just inserting them. I don't. There's not, sadly, because I think this type of movie, the anthology idea, whether it's Halloween, I think Halloween usually gets the most anthology films. Probably if you look at all the anthology films that were made, they're mostly Halloween films. I don't know of another Christmas anthology film. This is probably the only one. Yeah, this is probably the only one, but they should probably do more of them. I mean, studios should probably do more of these because they tend to become staples in terms of like talking about films.
Yeah.
The ones that people remember and everybody seems to know are the anthology films. Tales from the Dark Side, that type of stuff. Everybody knows those movies. And it's because the storytelling is so good that you remember all the stories. And sometimes if you think about anthology films, I might only remember one or two stories that are in an anthology film, except for Trick or Treat. Those are all so memorable because they're so brilliantly intertwined.
Exactly.
But there's just not enough anthology films, man. That seems to be something that was big in the 80s and 90s and then just kind of disappeared, unfortunately.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But yeah, so I hope you guys go watch this movie. I hope that we didn't completely ruin it for you. Maybe if you want to watch this, you can skip the other stories and just watch the Santa Claus one. Just fast forward until you get to the Santa Claus one. But yeah, so if I'm not mistaken, our next film is what? Gremlins?
Yes. Gremlins is the next one. Our final, it is our final episode of this year, and it's going to be Gremlins. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Love the movie.
I'm excited about this one. I'm excited about this one for more than one reason, dude.
Yeah. I've seen it a million times, but it's for me, it's a movie like Terminator. I've seen Terminator a million times, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Just like Gremlins. But these are just, there are typical movies I watch every single fucking Christmas. Gremlins is one of it because I love it. I love this movie. And it's also just like, Santa Claus with Tim Allen. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's a classic for most people our age.
I love it.
Yeah, I like that movie too.
No, it's yeah. I always loved Christmas, even though I was never a religious person. I like the Christmas spirit, the aesthetic towards it, and I like Santa Claus stories. I just like that entire feel. It always felt weird to me that a lot of people aren't really that into it because a lot of people, it's like for their families is like with the Krampus story. It was never really that way with my family, Yeah. Even though among my family, my parents and my sisters, there was never really issues. I mean, of course, issues as is in every family, but it was, I would say, a very loving family. Christmas was always an awesome time for me, for my sisters, and for our family, and even my dad, or my mom. And it was kind of like a little bit, there was even tension going on between my uncle and my mom or whatever, but still around Christmas, there was never really fighting.
No, everybody tends to let everything go around Christmas time. Thanksgiving's good for that too.
Yes. Yeah. Thanksgiving also. I remember Thanksgiving as a kid. Yeah. And I don't know. It's just, unlike a lot of people, I only have positive memories regarding Christmas, even till nowadays. My family, we always get together on Christmas, and it's always a great time. Even though half the time we don't even buy presents for each other anymore. That stopped after I was a teenager when I was around 15, 16.
Yeah.
My parents just stopped doing it.
It fucking gets expensive. I'm an uncle 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 times over now, right? Yeah. And so if I were to have to buy a Christmas gift for everyone in my family that shows up for Christmas, dude, I'd easily be spending over $1,000.
Dude, it was never really that thing in my family. For me, we buy Christmas presents for the kids. Obviously.
Yeah, because it's fun to give kids gifts.
I've always done that, and I do. I bought exactly. I bought Christmas presents for my youngest niece and for my nephew, the youngest ones, because they're still small kids. But the other one, I mean, my other niece is already 19 or 20 even. Yeah. And my other nephew is 18, and it was just like for us, Christmas was always just getting together. Sometimes we even play instruments because my brother-in-law brings his a trumpet with, and my mother with her flute, and they play and we play songs together or whatever. And for me, it was always just the family getting together.
Yeah, that's all Christmas was about for me. But I think the magic of it, I think this is the same for a lot of adults, right? So when you're a kid and you get told the story of Santa Claus coming, and especially in America, because you get to see it on the TV that they're tracking Santa Claus, and it's a great excuse for parents to tell their kids to go to bed. The smart thing is, in every state, you get a different idea of where Santa Claus is. So at the time when the kids should be going to sleep so the parents can put the presents under the bed, that's the time that the TV is telling you, oh, Santa Claus is in your area. So it's really easy for parents to point to the TV and be like, oh, look, Santa Claus is in our area. That means it's time to go to bed. It's really fucking smart, right? So it's helpful to parents, but the whole magic of the season is awesome, especially when you're a kid. And when you grow up, you have those fond memories and you want to do the same thing with your kids. So I don't have kids, but if I had kids, we'd probably be watching horror movies on Christmas before you put them to bed, because kids generally tend to be really fucking quiet after they watch a horror movie because they're scared to death. And then you can put the presents under the tree easier. Just a thought, parents. Anyway, I'm excited to do Gremlins.
Me too.
I think we'll do that one together, kind of like we did this one. What do you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've only seen it once, Mike. Seen that movie once, and I loved it. And I don't know why I've never watched it again.
You've only seen it once? Are you fucking
I've only seen it once.
Huh?
I mean, I love the movie. I remember everything about it because it was that good, but I've only seen it once.
Okay.
I think I saw Gremlins 2 a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And now Gremlins 3 is coming out. So
Yes.
I'm super excited to see what they do with this.
Me too. Me too as well. I'm really interested to see what they're doing with it. I mean, Gremlins 1 is great, but it's funny what I realized that in Gremlins 2, what I recently watched, I think it was 1 or 2 years ago, the holodoc from Star Trek Voyager is the main antagonist.
Yeah, he is.
I didn't notice that until I watched it the last time, dude.
He is.
And what? God damn it! Why can't I think of his fucking name? Sauron from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Legendary actor, but I keep on forgetting his name. Christopher Reed. Or no.
I can't remember his name, to be honest with you, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, it says I constantly forget this guy's name, but because he's a legend and he's also in the movie, I totally fucking forgot that.
I forgot his name. We'll remember it next time. I will say this might be some interesting trivia we leave for the next episode, but I'll say it here anyway, just because I think it's interesting and I may forget it. Gremlins 1 was a movie that the director did not like. He didn't like the way the movie went. There were a whole bunch of ideas that he had that he wanted to put into it, but the studio said, that's too much. We're not going to do that. So he went and made Gremlins 2. He got the rights to make Gremlins 2, and everything that he wanted to put in part 1, he was like, fuck it, and put it in part 2. So part 2 is a much more chaotic, insane, crazy film than the first one is. They're almost two completely different stories, and the way of portraying the creatures.
I mean, it is a situation where I say, because Gremlins 2 was okay. I liked it. It was fine. It was funny.
I liked it,
but it was good. It was funny, but it was nowhere near the level of Gremlins.
No,
and
the first one was great.
This is just a scenario, a situation where you say it was absolutely the right choice for the studio to interfere.
Yeah.
In this case.
Yeah.
So it kind of shows that studio interference can go both ways.
If they hadn't interfered with the first one, a lot fewer people would know it because you would not be able to show it to kids at all. And part 1 is arguably kind of a kids movie, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get into that for our next episode. So make sure you guys tune in, because I know Gremlins is a big deal for a lot of people.
Yes.
You got anything else you want to say about this movie?
No, not really.
Okay. So go watch it. I'll apologize ahead of time if you hate it, but we had thought it was okay.
Yeah.
So until next episode, I'm Matt.
I'm Mike.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
The blackest eyes. The darkest eyes.